Hi guys, I wanted to make this video about LS1 head porting. I know there's plenty of videos around to show you what to do. This is just some of my techniques. This is the first pair of heads I've done. It's pretty easy, to be honest. There's just a few tips that you should know that I think some people don't tell you, or maybe there's multiple videos that do, but I'm going to try and make a quick video to show you the easiest ways to do things and mistakes not to make without watching loads of videos. So when you're porting the intake side, your main aim, I don't know how well you can see that, is to get rid of this bump here, this bump here. I know it's not focusing very well, but there is a, there you go, you can see it better now. There's a bump there. And you want to make this air path on the left clear. So you can see at the moment it curves around that lump. That lump is the bolt for the rocker arm. So when you grind this away, you will actually have a small hole, but it's nothing to worry about. It's going to get covered by the bolt, or you can get a shorter bolt or cut your bolt down. So this is one that hasn't been touched yet. So as you can see by one that has been, the bump's gone. You can see where the light's passing. There's like a clearer path to the left and to the right of the valve. The valve guide area in the casting has been made smaller, slimmer. The width here is wider. Again, it's wider on this side. What I do, or I found easiest to do, was make this side wider first. You want this edge here to be pretty straight. You know, you don't want to be curving. But you make this side wider before you start working the valve. If you start working the valve first, here or here, the tip tends to bite and get stuck and ping around everywhere, and it's pretty nasty, to be honest. So I work this edge first, then this away. You only make these ports very slightly wider, and then you can see here as well there's a bump here. It doesn't matter too much because obviously your injector is going to sit here, so there's not really a great deal of air going over it anyway. But you can smooth that out as well. These are just rough cuts, they need to be sanded yet. Then you move around onto the port side. See, these haven't been touched yet. And there's ones that have been. So you see, you make it wider here, take away this material around here. See the difference? You want to make it so that you imagine this space behind is if the valve's going the opposite way to it should. It wants to be able to fit through there if the valve was slightly smaller. So what some people do is ground the end of the valve down until it fits through, and then use that as a way of pushing down into the hole and using that as your sizing. Again, same thing here, moving away, material around the back, material around the sides, make the guide casting slimmer. Like I say, it needs to be sanded yet, but you can see there's a lot more space in there than there is in here. Moving on to the exhaust side. You can see, I'm sure you've seen other videos where you mark the gasket. So this scribe line here is where I've marked the gasket. You don't want to take away on the short radius, you want to take on the long radius. So some people call this the floor and this the roof. You take away here, you make it close to this scribe line as you can, but then when you get to the top, you go back into that D shape. You don't cut up here or grind up here. Again, you make the valve smaller, you make it wider. You can see in this one. So you see the scribe line here, I haven't gone round to it. I've just blended back in here. Create that width. You don't want a bell shape, you want a fairly straight. If you look sort of straight down from there, the sides are pretty straight. Again, coming around to this side, same thing again, making the bowl wider for the air to pass, moving the width of the valve guide casting, and then this is going to be smoothed out. Some people are concerned that porting your head makes your compression lower. So that's not the case as long as you don't touch this side. So this is what sits above the piston. When the piston goes up, it compresses this air, and this is where your compression ratio is. So I'm leaving this alone. If you grind out some of this, which some people do, they try and make this a bit smoother for air passing. To be honest, I don't think it'll make much of a big deal, so I'm leaving it alone. If you grind out this, it will reduce your compression slightly. Anyway, I hope that's helped. Main tip is, you only really need 2 heads, despite what some people may think. This one for doing the long straights, some of the curves. Do as much as you can with this one first, and then use this one to do the bowl areas around here. What I like to do is get them in so it gets wide enough so that you can pass it through completely like that. When you first start, you can see it doesn't fit at all, it just bites. Anyway, once you've made that bowl, you can then go back in with this one, make this edge nice and smooth, round. Don't touch the top, that's the short radius again. You can clean it up a little bit, get rid of some of the grime and the casting marks. But I think you understand the principles now. You can see, like I said before, on those light lines down the side here and here, where the air will pass. It wasn't previously like that. Okay, good luck guys. Oh, also, one last thing. Put Vaseline or grease on the tips of your heads. Otherwise they catch the aluminium and block up, and then they're useless. Cheers guys.